Did you ever wonder what would happen if the Whitebeard Pirates and the Roger Pirates fought at full power? Now, I actually saw a TikTok presenting the question to us whether the Whitebeard Pirates or the Roger Pirates would win if both of their crews were at max power. We're gonna dissect each crew and see what's going on. Right, so first up, it looks like we have Roger's crew in its prime. So we have to look at certain characters that would be elite in this mode. If we start from the left-hand side, Silver's Rayleigh to me is a top 5 character in One Piece if you're talking dead or alive, if he's in his prime, because he is the right-hand man to Goldie Roger. His haki speaks for itself. He was able to literally block Marco's attack with a finger. He has conquerors, he has reroll, he has armament haki, he has observation. He can literally contend with some of the greatest characters in the series. He's not even a pure swordsman, but he's able to use a sword to combat an Admiral Kizaru. And if you're talking about taking him in his prime, that means he could be relative to the likes of Garp and Sengoku, Roger, even Whitebeard and his team. I mean, that's how powerful Rayleigh is. I'm giving Rayleigh an A+. To the right of Rayleigh, we see Sunbel, who was a fishman on Roger's crew. Now, we don't know too much about Sunbel. We did see that he was able to clash against a younger Flowerblade Visa, but I'm not sure how much that would really translate to him in his prime. But if he is a fishman, one could probably give him fishman karate at an elite status in his prime, which, as I've said on multiple occasions, is a poor man's armament haki. And if he was sailing the seas with Roger and he got to go to the end game, Laugh Tale, you gotta be elite to make that happen. You gotta be elite to fight the Whitebeard Pirates and still come out doing your thing. So I'm gonna give Sunbel a B to be safe. Now, right in front of Sunbel, you see Portgas the Ace, which is actually kind of odd. I'm shocked that Ace is being brought here. I wouldn't really count Ace as a Roger Pirate, even though he has been affiliated with the Roger Pirates and the fact that his father is Goldie Roger. But Ace is obviously a Whitebeard Pirate more than anything. But if I'm taking Ace in his prime, assuming prime Rayleigh and up is A+ level, I would give Ace an A. I think he would be able to get there, especially because he's a Conqueror's Haki user. Next to Ace, you see Captain Buggy. Now, as much as we love Buggy, he has no offensive skill set whatsoever. I don't care what anybody has to say. He obviously did stake his claim. He wants to chase the One Piece now, so Mihawk and Crocodile have to capitulate. He can defend himself. His Devil Fruit is elite. We got to see during the Marineford War, Mihawk technically was not able to cut Buggy, but we know that Mihawk and Crocodile, when they are serious, are able to bully Buggy around, and that's not enough. I don't know what's going on. Buggy should be in his prime right now, and clearly we're not seeing anything as of yet. I'm gonna give Buggy a D tier. And right in front of Buggy, you see the man, the myth, the legend, Goldie Roger, the Pirate King himself. Obviously A+ level, there's no question, no doubt about it. He is the hockey man. He is that guy. He was able to fight against rocks with the help of Garp, by the way, and some of the Marines. But we understand that Roger is the golden standard as a Conqueror's Haki user. If you're using Conqueror's coding, you look to Roger and say this is the pinnacle, and it kept Roger in the game against Whitebeard in his prime, even though he was sick. That's how powerful Roger's haki is. Next to Roger, you see Scopper Gaban. Scopper Gaban in his prime would probably be very, very dangerous, very, very tough to stop, because we do know that Scopper Gaban was somebody that was willing to fight with Odin, and we know how elite Odin is. Odin is literally in Kaido's top 5. Odin is a great Conqueror's Haki user. He fought against Whitebeard. He survived an attack from Roger at one point in time. So if we're looking at Scopper Gaban and we're saying he's the third leg after Rayleigh, I think Scopper Gaban should be an A. Behind Scopper, we have Crocus. Now, Crocus is the medic of the Roger Pirates, so I'm not expecting any top tier fighting from him, but we do know that Crocus has observation haki. We do know that he was the one that was able to keep Roger alive, and we also know that Crocus was in the battle with the Whitebeard Pirates as well as the Golden Lion Shiki Pirates as well. He was in the Battle of Ed War, and he made it out unscathed. He was doing his thing. We have to give Crocus some credit here. I'm going to give Crocus the benefit of the doubt and give him a C+. I would love to put him higher, but we just don't know. The next one's crazy. I know y'all see him. Douglas Bullet, the man that Buggy said is relative to Silver's Rayleigh, and we got to see in the movie, whether it is canon or not, he has access to the Gasha Gasha no Mi. And not only can he use that Devil Fruit ability to disassemble and reassemble inanimate objects, but he has also awakened it, and he was able to fight against all of the supernova. At the time, he had higher Conqueror's Haki than Luffy. And if you're giving Prime Roger Pirates access to having Douglas Bullet, whether he is canon or filler, I mean, this crew is looking serious already. I don't know what's gonna happen with the Whitebeard Pirates. We're gonna have to really analyze them and see what's going on, because they look elite right now, the Roger Pirates. Douglas Bullet is A+. I don't care what anybody has to say. You got to give it to him. Now, next to Bullet, you have Seagull Nose None. Now, we don't know a lot about Seagull, but we do know that he was able to contend with a younger Diamond Jozu. Now, I don't know what we're really gonna say for his prime feats, but competing with Diamond Jozu, who was able to literally stop one of Mihawk's attacks that was intended for Whitebeard, is still a great feat. So because this is the prime Roger Pirates, I'm gonna give Seagull the benefit of the doubt and probably give him a B+ tier. And right in front of him, I mean, come on, it is red-haired Shanks. No matter how many arms Shanks has, you can give him 1 or 2. I still think he's A+. He has elite Conqueror's Haki, literally took down Captain Kidd and Killer and his entire camp with 1 attack. He has some of the greatest observation Haki we have ever seen, because he was literally able to look into the future for about a minute, it looks like. A+ tier Shanks. Now we're gonna get into the Whitebeard Pirates overall. Let's start with Neko Momoshi. Now we know that he's elite, especially in his Sulong form. Sulong Neko was able to box with Kaido, and we also know that he was fighting with Jack, who happens to be one of Kaido's top 3 all-stars. I'm comfortable putting Neko in his prime at probably like a B+. Right in front of him, you're looking at Kozuki Oden, one of the greatest swordsmen that we've seen in the One Piece world. Yes, a lot of people have debated whether Oden is a better swordsman than Mihawk. You can definitely have that type of conversation, but Oden in his prime is so elite that his Conqueror's Haki has been seen throughout Wano. This is the same man that Roger begged Whitebeard to borrow for a year. I mean, this is how powerful Oden is. Fought against Whitebeard, he fought against Roger, he fought against Kaido. The thing that's tough for me is when I'm thinking about Rayleigh and all these people, I do think that Prime Rayleigh is a step above. I do believe that Shanks is a step above. I think that Oden is elite, but I don't know if I can put him in A+. I think I will put Oden in A. Right in front of Oden, you see that we have Izo, and Izo was regarded as one of the great snipers on the Whitebeard Pirates. We know how elite he is because he's able to use armament Haki with the bullets, infusing the Haki into the bullets. He was even able to penetrate Kaido's tough skin with this type of technique. Izo also has access to observation Haki as well, but besides all of that, Izo was able to fight against CP0 members. For me, I think that warrants at least, at minimum, a B. Now, right next to Izo, you see that we have Ace. Now, Ace was counted on the Roger Pirates for some reason. I don't understand why, but for the same reasons, I would have Ace at around A tier. But I do think that if we're gonna give Ace to the Roger Pirates as well, then Ace would technically just cancel himself out anyway. Right behind Ace, we have Boss Man Jinbei, one of the most elite fighters. He's part of the Straw Hat Pirates now. I mean, one of my favorite feats from Jinbei is not the fact that he took down Who's Who, but it was the fact that he was able to block an attack from Big Mom. And he also helped the Straw Hat Pirates get to Wano by holding off Big Mom and the Big Mom Pirates as much as possible. People don't understand how crazy of a feat that is for Jinbei. Jinbei is one of the most durable characters that we've seen in the One Piece world, and he also is a master of Fisherman Karate. You couple that with his great armament Haki, and he's definitely a B+ in his prime. You gotta give it to him. Marco the Phoenix is in the sky. When you're looking at Marco clearly being the right-hand man of Whitebeard, you can clearly see that he is elite because he was able to fight against admirals in the Marineford War. Not 1, not 2, but all 3. And then when you're looking at Wano, King and Queen both got stopped by Marco. Marco was fighting them in a 2v1, and then he also had to deal with healing all of the people on the performance floor. You're coupling all that together, and we didn't even mention that Marco had to deal with Big Mom at one point in time during Wano. Marco is so elite that Shanks was trying to recruit him post Wano, and because Marco is a mythical Zoan type, there's no doubt about it that you have to put Marco at A. I can't put him at A+ because A+ is reserved for the Rayleighs and everybody like that. I don't think Marco is in that type of conversation. Right next to Marco, you have Diamond Jozu. Now, I believe Diamond Jozu is an absolute tank. He's a unit, he's top tier. He was able to literally stop one of Mihawk's attacks that was intended for Whitebeard. He boxed with Crocodile, and having a Diamond Devil Fruit definitely makes him elite. I just don't know if I could say Jozu is Marco level, but I mean, I don't think he's far off either. I'll give Diamond Jozu a B+, but he honestly can technically be an A. In front of Jozu, you see Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, obviously in his prime, A+. Like, there's no debate at all. One of the strongest characters in the One Piece world. Literally got the title of being the world's strongest man. Kaido did everything in his power to make his way to Marineford because he wanted to prove his strength against Whitebeard. We know that he has a Gurgur no Mi. We know that he's one of the most durable characters of all time. Literally went through the Marineford War while old, while sick, with hundreds of cannon wounds, hundreds of sword wounds and gun wounds and all these things, and fought everybody all at once. Threw down giants, had the world flipped upside down. Sengoku said he had the power to destroy the world. A+ tier. And sadly, right next to Whitebeard, you see Thatch. Now, whoever put this picture together, they're sick. Because right next to Thatch, you see Blackbeard, but that's another story for another day. Thatch, he's deceased. He's gone. We didn't get to see a lot of Thatch. When you think of Thatch, you've seen people compare him to around the Calvin brothers level. We know he was the cook for the Whitebeard pirates, so we're not going to see a lot of combat from him, as opposed to a Sanji for the Straw Hats, where his combat is very much needed. I would honestly give him like a C tier. But right next to him, you have Blackbeard. And Blackbeard is definitely A+ level. Blackbeard is a Yonko now. He's elite. He destroyed the rest of the Whitebeard pirates in the Payback War. He was able to take down Law in Law's camp. My concerns about Blackbeard have always been his haki, but we do know that he does have some decent armament because he was able to block an attack from S-Hawk during his time at Amazon Lily. But the fact that he was afraid to fight Rayleigh tells me all I really need to know. You're A+ in Devil Fruit, but B in haki. So maybe overall I would give Blackbeard an A, but because he's able to dual wield the Yami Yami no Mi and the Gurgur no Mi, and Rayleigh said that he didn't think that he was ready to fight Blackbeard, I gotta give him the A+. Behind Blackbeard, you see Inuyarashi. Inu is very comparable to a Neko. Obviously has a Sulong form that was able to contend with Kaido. Also boxed against Jack. Very durable. I believe he's on the same tier as Neko. I'm gonna give him B+ tier as well. And then lastly, we have Flower Blade Vista. There's always been a lot of talk about Vista when you're talking about the greatest swordsman in the One Piece world, because people have compared him to Mihawk, because we saw that Vista and Mihawk were fighting together in the Marineford War. We don't know to what extent how close Vista is to Mihawk, but the fact that Mihawk knew who he was speaks volumes on Vista's name. Vista also fought against the Roger Pirates, and we do know that he was included in that Payback War as well. Now, we don't know what went down between him and Shiryu, who I'm assuming he fought because he's a swordsman, if not a Diamond Jozu. But because he exists, we still have to keep his name in mind when we are talking about current swordsmen in the One Piece world that Zoro may have to deal with later on, if not already. Now, I think Zoro has surpassed Vista, but that's because we haven't seen Vista do anything since the Payback War. Shiryu is a different conversation. We still have to see more, but because he was able to contend against Mihawk, I'll give him a B+. If we look at the averages of the characters that I've ranked overall, the Roger Pirates would win slightly, very, very slightly. But here's the reality of the situation. This fight truly depends on how Blackbeard and Shanks will show up. We know Rayleigh's gonna be there, we know Marco's gonna be there and everything like that. We need to see how Shanks versus Blackbeard will go down, because if Shanks is able to overpower Blackbeard, it's game set match. Everybody go home, everybody pack it up, have a nice day. Because when you're looking at Shanks, he is literally the closest thing that we've seen to Roger in the modern day One Piece world. But if Blackbeard is able to take down Shanks, again, because Blackbeard's able to remove Devil Fruit abilities from other people, and he's also able to negate Devil Fruit abilities as well, that's where it gets a little shaky. Douglas Bullet can't be as reckless as he wants to be with Blackbeard present. This is why it really comes down to Shanks versus Blackbeard for me personally. I have Shanks winning that matchup as of right now in the One Piece world, so I'm still gonna give the edge to the Roger Pirates. You guys let me know down in the comment section below which crew you think would win if they were at full maxed out power. Everybody they had on their crew was in their prime. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.